Welcome to My The Asshole Podcast. Let's get into it. Welcome to My Asshole Podcast, everybody. Today we have a beautiful guest. It is my best friend of almost, 20 years almost?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, man. We met in, middle school?
Yeah.
Probably 6th or 7th grade, somewhere around there. His first time on the show. Welcome, my boy Michael, to the podcast. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
All right. So first of all, I want to say thank you for having me on.
Of course.
I've been watching your show for a while now. It's always been good laughs, and like you said, we've known each other for about it's getting up there to like 20-ish years now. So
crazy.
Lots of history there.
Great.
Glad to be here. You know, it's just vibes. You know.
Oh yeah. Hopefully we'll have him on the show a lot more throughout the next year and stuff like that. My man's extremely busy, so you know what I mean. But as you guys, if you're a Patreon member, as you guys have seen, I did ask you guys for scenarios and questions and all that good stuff. So we got some scenarios and some questions for our boy lined up later in the show. We're gonna be doing that. But as far as cleaning house next year, with 2026. I want it to be kind of a year of guests. So I'm going to try to be bringing on a lot of guests, a lot of people I know, friends, family, all that good stuff. Try to have more people on the show than just your boy. I know you guys love your boy. When you're driving to work, I'm what you put on. When you're cleaning your house, I'm what you put on. But I want to try to have some, maybe conflicting ideologies, people who think differently than I do, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to have our boy, go over you guys' scenarios today, and you guys will be able to kind of get his take on it. I have some questions, all that good stuff. But you know what we do. You guys know. Obviously, he's new. We do a thread, and then we go through our scenarios. So we have a thread for today. All right. So people want to know, what is the weirdest Tinder date that you have been on? All right. So we're going to go through some scenarios of people that have gone through some crazy Tinder dates. You're going to give your opinion. All right. So let's see what's up. Okay. So what is the weirdest Tinder date that you've been on? Went on a date with this cute girl. We talked about an hour, and she felt more fascinated when I brought up my cats. She was very eager to meet them. So we proceeded to go to my place, spent a few hours just playing with my cats. She was about to leave before she put on her shoes to go. She says to me, "Oh, I forgot something," and went to grab my youngest cat during the time, 4-month-old, and picked him up and wanted to walk out with him. I stopped her and told her, what were you doing? To her reply, "I thought you let me adopt him."
What?
So he went out with a girl. And then he was like, "Oh yeah, I got 2 cats and a little kitten." She's like, "Oh my God, that's so cute." He was like, "Yeah, you want to come over and see him?" She's like, "Yeah." And then they went over to his house. They played with cats. And then all of a sudden she was just like, "Oh, I forgot some." Jack moded his cat and was just like, "I'm ready to go." What do you think about that?
She definitely came there with an agenda. From the jump, as soon as I heard she was not interested until he mentioned cats, I was like, that's a red flag right there.
Yeah, cooked.
That is a red flag, because there's some people out there that are like, yeah, I value animal lives more than human lives. And from that specific, little intrigueness, I would definitely gather she went there and was like, okay, this man go invite me back to the house. That cat's mine.
Yeah.
That cat is mine.
Yeah. This is the assumption. This cat is obviously mine. That's crazy work, dude.
That is crazy.
Oh, man. All right. What is the weirdest Tinder date that you have been on? A guy offered me a bag of marijuana at the beginning of the date. Yo. Bruh. Come on, man. What are you doing? Then spent the rest of the evening talking about molecules and energies and how the government is trying to give us cancer because Because of something in the lights we used. This nigga said, yo, in the lights, the government put cancer in the lights, dude. Bro has been smoking too much of the weed, man. All right. Some weird pseudo-scientific stuff. I just nodded along and ate my food. He didn't eat anything because he fasts 23 hours a day. Jesus. Okay.
Stop the cap.
Bro, you smoke that much weed, you got the munchies, bro. There ain't no way you not
Definitely.
The best part was that the woman at the table next to ours could hear our conversation, and we exchanged knowing looks where her eyes said, "What the fuck is up with this guy?" And mine said, "I know."
Jesus. Yeah, that's a lot to unpack there, you know? Like, Jesus. He starts off like, no, hi, hello, like, you know,
here's a bag of weed.
That's the start, and then from there he's like, I'm gonna get real scientific on this bitch. You know?
Yeah, he was like, I know some shit.
I know some shit.
No.
She don't know, but I know. Exactly. God damn.
Says she don't know, but I know. They put cancer in the light bulbs, man.
What is he doing out in public if that's what he thinks is gonna happen?
Mans is just afraid of every light bulb then. He must just be walking around town and he's just like, oh shit.
Get that light away from me.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Oh my God. You can threaten that man with a flashlight. Yeah. He's just like, get that cancer stick away from me, dude.
Rob him with a flashlight instead of a gun.
Exactly.
Damn.
Oh shit. All right. What is the weirdest Tinder date that you have been on? Met a guy on Tinder. We talked for a while on Facebook before meeting. That's crazy. He decided to come to my work for my lunch break. I was working third shift at the time, so this was like at 3 a.m. Yeah. What?
The devil's hour? Like,
Bro decided he was just like, yeah, I'll see you on your lunch. Yeah, my lunch is at 3 a.m. Girl, I'm gonna be there. Okay. Damn. I hung out in his car in complete silence while we played on his phone. Okay. Then he started to show me pictures of real dead bodies on his phone. I hopped out of his car so fast. That was my first and last Tinder date, bro. What?
Holy shit. Yes.
What?
Yep. He was setting her up. He was what do they call it? Prefacing. Where they like you know how in the beginning of the movie they like hint at the ending.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Definitely what he was doing.
Yeah, he was just like, oh my God, look at all my victims.
He said, I have no connection to any of these, but you will definitely find out what my connection is. God damn.
That is so facts, dude. Oh my God, that is Jesus so Christ. Facts, bro.
She did the right thing.
Oh, 100%.
Should have been a red flag that he was willing to go out at 3 a.m. to meet
Thank you.
But at the same time, you know, she did the right thing. She got out of there, never got back on Tinder, you know. Whatever frequency that man was on, he was looking for his next victim.
Oh, 100%. 100%. He was like, are you ready to be a part of the gallery? Like, bro.
Jesus.
All right. What is the weirdest Tinder date that you have been on? I matched with a guy I went to high school with, and who I also thought was really good looking and really cool. Played sports, well liked by everyone, etc. I probably hadn't seen him in 2 years at this point, but in his Tinder pictures, he still looked the same. So we agree to meet up for coffee. He comes in with a greasy long hair, a beard, and actually looked homeless. And went on to tell me that he dropped out of college and has severe ADHD now. He couldn't focus on one thing. He was fidgeting the entire date. Told me how he's one with the earth. Bruh. Okay. All right, man. At the end of it, told me he was gay. I'm a girl. I seriously thought I was being punked. Yo, what? Man was like, yeah, I'm homeless. I got ADHD. I'm one with the earth, but I'm gay. It's like Why are you here, my guy? I guarantee he was trying to get a free meal. He was trying to get a free coffee. Yeah, he was trying to get something out of you.
Absolutely.
That's what it was. Homeboy was tired of panhandling on the street. That's I think what it was. He was tired of panhandling on the street, and he was just like, you know what, man, I'm a get my little crappy cell phone, download Tinder, try to find me some bitches that'll pay for some shit. Like, that's crazy, dude.
Dude, absolutely. And as soon as I heard he was really great in high school, they talk about it a lot in the space where dude peaked in high school. He peaked in high school. He got to college, found out he wasn't shit. No one was paying attention to him. Dropped out. Became homeless, didn't become anything because he peaked in high school. Yeah. And he probably still talks about high school to this day. And he probably went on the date and was like you said, looking for some free shit, trying to just milk any bitch out there. Yeah. And get, whatever free shit you can. And he just, to come out at the end and be like, I'm gay, by the way, too. Like, what was that supposed to accomplish?
Thank you. And I say this all the time on this show because there's so many times, all right, where dudes, we've done threads like this before where, girls, I'll ask them questions like, what is like the craziest pickup line a guy has ever, tried to use on you or something like that. And sometimes, these dudes will be just like, hey, little mama, let me take you home and smack your cheeks. And I'm like, when you prefaced this question to yourself, what did you think was going to happen when you said it to the girl? Because I would think that you thought that she was just like, oh my God, some random guy wants to clap my cheeks. Yes. It's like, no, dude, no. Like, what the fuck is going on with people nowadays? And it's so funny because I'm just like, dudes like that be fucking it up for the normal guys out there.
Right.
The dudes that, they got their shit. They're normal guys. They go to work, do their thing, whatever it may be. They know how to talk to women. It sucks because, and this has kind of been a little confirmed, not like 100%. I mean, I don't have like a huge sample size to really confirm this, but there has been people that have reached out to me and they're just like, yes, you're 100% right, that when I do encounter a guy that uses those really shitty pickup lines and then I meet the next guy, she automatically assumes that this guy is going to do the same thing. So it's like you meet a girl, right, and the dude before you said some wild shit. She's just waiting for you to say some wild shit. She's just like, all right, Michael's going to say some wild shit. I can't wait.
Yeah.
When is it happening? Yeah. Is it happening now? Oh, nope. Okay. Like, it is just the weirdest thing. I swear, it fucks it up for everybody. I'm just like, man, y'all. And then sometimes I'm like, dude, I'd be embarrassed to be a dude sometimes. I'm just like, you guys are not real. Yeah. You're not real, dude. Oh, shit. All right. Oh, man. A little bit of a long one. Okay. What is the weirdest Tinder date that you have been on? Plenty of fish. Damn. That still exists. That's crazy.
Jesus.
Oh, well, telling anyways, she just got out of the hospital and a bizarre hit. So apparently on Valentine's Day, the bus dropped her off, but no taxi or Uber dared drive out to get her. So she was stranded at the Waffle House. So I took my Jeep Grand Cherokee 100 miles into the snow to meet her for the first time and to save her. Bro, okay. I made it 90% of the way, hit some black ice, then slid sideways into a power pole. The guy that lived there pulled out his tractor trailer and pulled me out of the pole. I continued my journey. Bro, you survived that? Bro, I was like, screw, boom. Oh, hey, man, can you, like, pull my car? Oh, no problem, partner. Pulled him out. He was like, thanks, man. I got another 90 miles to drive. Like, bro,
God,
I would have went home.
Yeah, I'm going home. I'm not doing anything else.
That's some crazy shit, bro. I was like, I just continued my journey, man, and the coochie was worth it. All right, shit. I continued my journey as the knight is as the knight in shining armor. I made it to the Waffle House and picked her up. The door wasn't open because it was smashed in. She climbs over from the other side, casually brushing aside bits of broken glass from the shattered window. Bruh, You didn't clean the seat.
God.
All that glass that just shattered from the crash is just chilling in the seat. And he's like, oh, yeah, see the glass? Yeah, you just going to have to sit in that. My bad. Hey, bro. All right, we proceeded to drive 25 minutes in the snow while freezing air tossed her post-surgery bed head around. We made casual conversation. We get to her house, and I get out, so she climbs back over my seat to get out. She thanks me. We part ways. Come to find out, my truck frame was bent and should not have been driven. Facts. There you go. 4 years later, we're happily married, going through IVF and having a daughter. Yo!
What the? Okay. I did not expect that at the end.
I didn't either. Wow. Talk about a How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Yo.
insane. That is insane. Would not have caught me out there doing that.
Facts.
No. I would have crashed and been like, what am I doing here?
Yeah, exactly.
What is going on?
I would have been like, this is Jesus.
Yeah.
This is Jesus right here saying, no, my son. This ain't the way.
Yeah.
Nah.
Their daughter was definitely meant to be there.
100%.
Because the dad could have died. He could have died. Easy. Been an icicle in that fucking snow. And then fucking
100.
no daughter there. You know, she
100.
better thank her dad every day that he had the determination to crash and still go after that coochie.
100%, dude. 100%. Yeah. 1,000. Because, dude, there's no way. There's no way I would have done that.
No.
I'd have been like, this is a sign from God to turn my ass around and go home.
Go home.
You know what I mean? And we'll figure it out. She's gonna have to stay her ass at that Waffle House for a minute.
One day cost how much to fix his truck?
Dude, I don't.
We don't know, but
Yeah.
it's definitely not cheap.
No,
Definitely not cheap.
No, because the frame of
Yeah.
the truck is
Yeah.
fucked up. Like, dude, they're gonna take that apart, rebend the frame back. They'll probably replace, whatever pieces made the frame. Like, dude.
Yeah.
Hey, apparently it was worth it to him though.
Yeah.
It
4
was-
years
yeah.
later, married. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely worth it to him, I guess.
Yeah. Damn. All right. What is the weirdest Tinder date that you have been on? Guy attempted to pull his hand up my skirt as a way of confirming that was how I had been assaulted on a train a few years prior. Okay, context. Because somehow a number of people are seeing this as my own fault, partially because it would have been a turnoff for the date in question. All right. So him, do you drive into work? Me, yep. How about you? Him, public transport. How come you don't take the train? I said, I'm not a fan of public transport, and besides, I have free parking at work, so it's a win-win for me. Him, how come you don't like public transport? Me, a few years ago, some douchebag stuck his hand on my skirt when I was getting off of the train, so anyway, he did it like this, and proceeds to then put his hand up my skirt. Nigga.
What
Nigga.
the fuck?
She was like, oh, yes, this exact motion traumatized me. And he's like, this?
What was the goal there?
Thank
What was the goal? Like, let's be for real. Like, as if she'd be like, no, it wasn't like that. It was not like that.
No, he didn't stick his hand up my skirt like that. He did it more like this.
Yeah.
Like, bro.
Just said traumatized her. And your goal is like, what was the exact motion? So that way I can just picture it in my mind.
Exactly. It's stupid, bro. Oh, my.
God damn it, bro.
Some dudes just can't be saved, man.
Can't.
They just can't be saved. They're just terrible. It's like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing?
Yeah. And it's that stuff, like you said, she's going to go to the next dude and be like, can't tell him this story.
Oh, 100%.
He's going to have to verify. I can't tell him this story.
Yep. 100%.
God damn it, bro.
100%. She's just going to be like, oh, the transit thing. Yeah. I don't take transport because the guy stuck his hand up my skirt. You know what I mean?
Right. She's gonna have to find some different reason,
Dude, or that. She might just change up the story. Oh yeah, some guy tried to touch my butt. He didn't do it, but he tried.
Yeah.
Like, oh, bruh. Just killing it, man.
Killing it.
All right. What is the weirdest Tinder date that you have been on? Guys kept asking me out for weeks and even called me. We had exchanged numbers eventually to convince me. So I decided to give it a try. We decided to meet at a bar, and he got there 30 minutes late, and we ordered a Coke. Apparently, he was a recovering alcoholic. That's not a problem for me. I just thought it was weird that he had agreed to go to a bar. You didn't put two and two together and be like,
hey, yo, what the fuck?
Right?
You know, like,
right?
bro, you didn't put two and two together and be like, maybe this is not the best idea. And then he proceeds to perform on me what he felt like what felt like a job interview. At some point, I even sarcastically asked, am I doing okay here? After 40 minutes of that, he got up, paid for his Coke, and said, I'm going to go. I have to get up early tomorrow, and left. We haven't talked since.
What the hell? I mean, it's not terrible, right? I thought it was going high and left with the recovering alcoholic.
Facts. I thought Homeboy just went on a bender.
Yeah.
You know, I thought Homeboy was just 6 beers in and, you know, you had to take care of him or take him to the hospital or some shit. That's what I really thought was going on. But, luckily not. But, bruh. I honestly... okay. It's weird to, like... I gotta word this correctly. A lot of what I've noticed is a lot of dudes don't really know how to just have a casual conversation with a girl.
Right.
They feel like asking questions is a conversation.
Right.
You know, and to me, I don't get it. You ask questions to let the girl do all the talking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like how was your day? Oh, my day was good. What did you do? Oh, I did this, this, and that, and this and that, and da-da-da. Okay, you know what I mean? And then whatever comes from that, you kind of pick and choose things, and you ask furthering questions from those things. You know, it feels a little more like a conversation. But for it to feel like an interview to where he's just like, oh, so what did you do there? What did you do then? Then what was that? Then what was this? And it's like, bro, I'm surprised you didn't leave.
That's what I was immediately thinking, because she waited 30 minutes past the time that they said they would meet up, which I'm like, what were you doing waiting 30 minutes?
I didn't even clock that.
And then after that, another 45 minutes where you felt like it was an interview. Like you said, you see it every now and then. It's talked about every now and then on the space, and what it is like you said, some dudes just don't know how to have a conversation, and so they just ask question after question after question after question, and they're like, I think I'm doing good, and then he was like, actually, we just don't have anything in common. But you can determine that really, really quickly. You don't need 45 minutes of questions for you to figure that out. Especially, I'm surprised she waited that 30 minutes. I don't know what she's got going on where she wasted, what was it, an hour and 15 or an hour 30 minutes of her life trying to figure out, should I continue with this dude? Like, from the 30 minutes to the next 30 minutes, I don't know why he waited the whole 45 after he arrived to realize, like, you know what? Probably shouldn't be talking to this dude.
Facts.
And then he cut it off himself. He was like, we haven't talked since. What were you hoping to get out of there for an hour and a half of time wasted from this recovering alcoholic to where you're like, all right, you know what? This might be worth it.
Yeah. See, and I really think it's one of those things where some dudes, bro, they are just such chads. Women are just like, nah. He's 6'2". Nah, he might have a great job. You know, he might have some other redeeming factor that really made her wait. Because what I've noticed, all right, and a lot of dudes fight me on this. So I want your honest opinion. You don't have to agree with me. You can go completely against me if you want. But I want your honest opinion. If a woman is into you, she will go above and beyond through hell or high water to be with you, go on a date. She will call off work. She will not go to family functions. She will drop every single thing and every single person, friend, plans, all that to hang out with you because she likes you. What do you?
100%. Like you said, right? And this actually comes from my experience in sales as well. I used to do door-to-door for a while, and so that was one of the things where you talk to a lot of people day in, day out, all types of people, all types of intelligence levels. And one thing I will notice is no matter how you try to break something down for a person, depending on what they perceive what they think about in their mind, they'll gaslight themselves into anything, right? I've never seen so many people overcharged for their service, right? Not to get too far into it, but like for them to justify to themselves, like, yeah, 100, 200, 300. I've met people that will pay $500 for internet cable. And you tell them you don't have to pay that, and they're like, no, it's because I got the premium stuff. It's the exact same way with dating, with any scenario, right?
Yeah.
She probably saw something in him where she started thinking to herself,
This is premium.
This is premium. This man is either this good looking, or he's got this much money, or he's got this type of redeeming quality where, like, I know he's like either nurturing, whatever the case may be. She thought to herself, this will be worth it, because of course no one wants to say they're wasting their time, they're wasting their money, they're wasting their resources, things of that nature, you know? True. The human bias to justify what it is they're doing will come out in any manifestation, any scenario, like you said, you know. If the dude's good looking enough, or she's into him enough, same thing, vice versa, right? Dudes into a girl's, right? The pedestal, or whatever the case may be. And so it's just one of those things where if for some reason you're gonna do it and it's not the best decision, no matter what you say, if you want it to be the right reason for yourself, you'll gaslight yourself into anything. And that's what it is, you know. And I'm not saying that this woman did that to herself, but it's definitely something that I've seen firsthand, where no matter what, people will justify any action that they're doing when it's not necessary. They won't break away from their own ego to take a step back and be like, all right, you know what, this may be a waste of my time, but I can fix it, or something like that. You know?
W analysis. W. Yeah, definitely, man. Because I've noticed that a lot. And a lot of guys fight me on this. They're like, oh, no, girls don't do that. Oh, no. And I'm like, bro, because a girl has not liked you enough to go to those lengths.
Exactly.
That's really what it comes down to a lot of times. And, you know, it's not to shit on other guys or anything like that. It's just one of those things where it's like a lot of guys don't experience that. They don't get to experience where a woman is literally going above and beyond to either go on a date with them, be with them, all that kind of stuff, where they're literally, you know, dropping everything they have just to hang out with you. You know, a lot of guys don't get to experience that, and that's why a lot of guys just don't think it's real. But it's like once you find that girl that does do that, your perspective on that shit is going to change, because for a lot of these dudes, they can't fathom that. They're like, what? No, a girl doing that? Oh, no way. They're never, you know. But it is one of those things where, it does get to that point, and it's crazy to me.
Yeah,
you know?
That is some crazy stuff.
Yeah, man. All right. What is the weirdest Tinder date that you have been on? The weirdest one was probably going out with this dentist guy. We were in a cafe. He then asked to see my teeth and questioned about my oral hygiene. I have pretty good teeth according to him, but that was weird. I can see how it's weird.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, you knew who you were going on a date with.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to go out on a date with a doctor, he's going to talk about a lot of doctor shit. Yeah. He's going to be like, yo, I had this patient where, you know, dude got fucking shot 6 times and we had to pull bullets out of him and stuff. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
or he's going to just be like, dang, your thorax looks really healthy or some shit. I don't know. Like, but you get my point.
Oh,
they're going to talk about their job, like, especially in the medical world. It doesn't matter if you're a dentist, orthodontist, if you're a surgeon, if you're a nurse. It doesn't matter. These people they're at their job 24/7. You know what I mean? Yep. So that's all they're going to talk about. That's all they do is their job. So the fact that that's all they do and that's all they really know, when they go on a date, that's what's going to happen. I don't know what she kind of expected, but, you know, I don't know if you want to give your take.
It definitely makes sense to me. I mean, like you said, he does it 24/7. He's a doctor. It's important to him, especially if he's seen some jacked up mouths, you know?
Oh, 100%. Like, he's like, yours is really great. Yeah. that's a sight I don't see.
He's in there. He's probably seen some women with some absolutely methed up, jacked up faces, you know? And he's like, I definitely don't want to like run into a woman and see that her face is jacked up like this, because who knows what else she's neglecting, right? You neglect your mouth. What else of your health are you neglecting, right? Yeah. So he was like, he knows what he wants. He's trying to get it out the way quick and early, right? So he's like, he sees the opportunity. He's like, all right, yeah, let's check your teeth out. You got pretty good teeth. That probably means elsewhere you're, like they say, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And from there, he's like, your teeth are pretty good. So from there, I can determine you probably got some pretty good hygiene or health habits, And it may be weird, of course, because you're not a doctor. You don't think in that space, but I think about any job, like the tech industry, ingenuity, construction, all that stuff, right? A construction worker would come to your house to anywhere and be like, all right, what's the structural capabilities or stability of this building, or whatever, right? Just because that's what they do 24/7. That's on their mind. That's what their job is. That's their purpose for right now,
Yeah. And it's funny because it's funny how you said how you do one thing is how you do everything. I say that all the time on the show.
Yeah.
All the time on the show, because a lot of people don't get that. A lot of people think that everything is its own, complex instance. And it's like, no. Because how they do one thing is how they do everything. If they're lazy about one thing, they're lazy about everything. It's just who they are. It's the way it is. Shit ain't gonna change. If I'm being honest with you, girl, dental shit ain't cheap, and you lost out on a free dentist. I ain't gonna cap to you, bro.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, bro, you could have got dental checkups up in the house. You could have got root canals for free. Like, what are you talking about? Your children would have had root canals and shit and cleanings and all that for free. No insurance needed. Bro would have been up in the crib talking about, hey, what's up, baby? Just cleaning the kids' teeth. Like, bro, you fucked up on that one. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, she fumbled the bag. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, she
fumbled the bag.
And then dentists make money.
Yes.
Women don't think dentists make money, but they make money.
Absolutely.
Oh my God! Like my dentist that I go to get my cleanings and stuff like that. Homeboy makes $210,000 a year.
Jesus.
Being a dentist.
Yeah.
A dentist.
That makes sense,
That boy is making money. So it's like, nah, man, hey, you better hit that dentist guy up. Yeah, you better hit that boy up real quick. But, oh, man, but that's going to be the end of today's thread. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have went on a weird Tinder date, definitely leave it down in the comments, all right? We're going to hop through announcements, then we're going to get into you guys' scenarios, and our boy's going to break them down for you and all that good stuff, give you his opinions, advice, whatever it is that you guys have asked over either on Instagram, Reddit, or our Patreon. So, Patreon.com/Am I the Asshole Podcast. Get an exclusive episode every single Friday, as well as being able to send in your scenario to be featured on the Tuesday and Sunday show, like these lovely people did for today. All right. This episode will go out on a Sunday, so you guys will be seeing this on a Sunday. Audio listeners, thank you guys for so much support. You guys have been awesome. We've been pretty much hitting our goal of 100 downloads a day, which is amazing. You know what I mean? We're really killing a lot of the milestones that I've had. I'm hoping to kind of double that effort next year. We're going to be bringing on a lot of guests. We're going to be having a lot of fun. We're going to bring our boy Michael back as much as possible, as much as he is able to. Yeah, man, we're going to be doing the dang thing. So hopefully you guys are enjoying. We're going to be still doing the books. We're still going to be live streaming. We're still going to be doing all that fun stuff that you guys have been enjoying week over week over week. I don't sleep, so I can give you guys content. That's just the way it goes. All right. So if you guys want to help us out even more, rate us 5 stars on your preferred listening platform, as well as follow us on Instagram, TikTok, as well as subscribing on YouTube. All that is free, and it helps out very much. Thank you guys so much. Without further ado, let's get into today's scenarios. Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, man. Here we go. Coworker and I crossed a few lines. When my coworker and I met, I thought she was hot, but never thought about anything sexual or about sex.
Stop the cap.
Like, come on, bro. If she's hot, you low key thinking about it. Right. I know I would. Gotta clarify that I was not married at the time. However, we became good friends and started talking about more personal stuff daily until there was a point where she shed very personal things about our sex lives and families and etc. There was a point where we started to feel attracted about those things, and that was the only thing we spoke about until one day we decided to cross the line and start sharing intimate pictures. Ooh, sending the nudes. All right then. We did that almost twice a week for about 2 years. Then we crossed one more line and started doing video calls and touching ourselves to each other. Okay. We enjoyed watching and being watched with that kind of energy of being coworkers. We never had sex and acted super casually at the office. So I think people never imagine what was going on backstage. Anyways, we stopped doing that. We both found partners and we are still friends today. But part of me regrets not having done that because we were much closer friends before the whole online sex thing happened. What do you think is pretty much what he said at the end?
Okay.
Yeah. So pretty much he had a coworker. She was hot as hell. He was like, damn. You know, but he didn't, apparently he didn't think anything sexual about it.
Stop the cap.
I call cap on that. I ain't gonna lie to you. Because it led to a sexual relationship regardless. That's why I'm like cap. But, you know, they were sending nude pictures. They were talking about, oh yeah, girl, you know, I do this to you, do that to you. And she's like, I do this and I do that to you. You know what I mean? And then it got to a point where they were sending nudes. Then they were, you know, she was jilling on the Omegle and he was beating it on the Omegle and they were watching each other or whatever.
Yeah.
And now they have partners, but he regrets not actually having sex with her. But he's got a partner.
Yeah.
So, you know, what do you think?
I think, and this is part of like what they talk about with like setting your intentions up as soon as possible, you know? You had your fun, right? You had your regrets. And that if I like in my eyes says something to you where it's like, all right, you kind of for some reason held off because you thought like, yeah, crossing these lines were like enough. You were trying to see how far it would go, and you were kind of just letting her lead things. It seems like, and instead of getting things out of the way, right, where it's like, all right, we're either gonna do this or we're not. You kind of just set yourself up for failure. You know, at the end of the day, you had your fun. Now you guys have your own partners. You guys still remain friends. So that, to me, in my mind, says that both of you kind of are having like this backlog or this back pocket. Like, all right, if I don't work out right now, I can just go back to what we were doing before, and maybe it turns into more, maybe it doesn't. You know. Ooh. But you know that to me, I don't feel like you're gonna go from friends to doing all this like sending pictures, seeing each other over and over again, naked, all that shit, and then you're just like, we'll remain just friends as we already have partners. You know what I mean? Especially because, like, if your partner finds out that you guys were doing that and you're still friends, would they be comfortable with it?
Ooh.
Probably fucking not.
Facts.
Probably fucking not.
Especially his wife. And especially her man. Like, think about it. You know, what if your girl was just like, oh, yeah, I used to do all this shit with my coworker and we're still friends? Yeah. I'd be like, fuck no. Oh, yeah. You're not friends with him no more. Literally. I'd be like, bitch, quit that job.
Because, and that's the thing, they did all that stuff as friends already.
Yeah.
So they're still friends. What's changed? You guys have partners, but you guys are still in the same type of relationship. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. It just sounds like some back pocket stuff where it's like, oh, God, fucking Sally, my new partner, isn't really working out, dude. You want to get on video call real quick? Like, yeah. And she'll be like, oh, well, see, you know, Mark just, you know, he's not here right now. Yeah, I can spare like 20 minutes. Yeah. You know, nigga only need 5 to nut. Yeah. You know? Oh my God.
Like, let's be honest, you know, nigga only need 5 minutes to nut. So yeah, and He's so right, and I would have analyzed it probably the same way.
Yeah.
The fact that they're still friends, you guys never were in a relationship, and for a guy, there's no way he can have a sexual relationship with a woman and just stop that.
Yeah.
There's no way he can do that. He's gonna still want to do that because anytime he sees you, he's like, man, I know what that looked like naked.
Yeah.
Man, I know what that looked like spread eagle. You know what I mean? And dudes, we're horny creatures, bro. We think about sex all the time. It's just the way we are. There is no dude on this planet Earth that just don't think about it. Even gay men think about sex as much as straight men do. It is what it is. And that's why I say it's all men. It don't matter. So that's why it's one of those things where I guarantee you, even at work, you still thinking about, busting that shit open. I get it 100%. But bro, you gonna really fuck your life up staying friends with this girl.
Yeah,
and that's what it comes down to. And that was the point I was trying to get to is you're gonna fuck your life up. Like if you have a really good life with your girl and you guys are doing your thing, staying friends with this girl is gonna fuck you up, bro. It is going to fuck you up. And what you need to do is you need to say, hey, look, man, I got my girl now, you got your dude now. I really don't think it's respectful for us to be friends still. We could be coworkers. You know what I mean? But it's one of those things where it's like outside of the, work environment, we can't talk. We can't have each other's number. We can't even have each other's omegals or whatever. But you know what I mean? Like we can't be doing that shit. Oops.
Yeah.
I'll grab it real quick.
And that's like one of those things too, where like now that they stayed friends, they're going to have that conversation one way or another, whether 100%. It's a partner finding out or they just come to terms. But unless they're both on the same terms, there's going to be some vendetta, I would say.
100%.
Whether he has that conversation with her and she's like, oh, well, then I'll just tell your new partner then, dude, and then you can be my friend again. Yeah. Or some shit that.
And that's exactly what I mean. Yeah. Is like this girl could feel some type of way about you not wanting to be your friend. And then she's like, oh, okay, well, since you don't want to be my friend, I'm going to get nasty with it. And I'm going to tell your wife, he saw my coochie. Yeah. He was beating his dick to me. This and that. And it's like, bro, that's going to fuck your situation up. So, that's why I'm saying, bro, tread carefully.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's get on to our next one. Am I wrong for ending things with a date after she kept different rules for different guys? Okay. I, 26 male, have been going on dates with this woman, 25 female, since the last 2 months. We haven't talked about exclusivity since things haven't got that serious, but we have had mutual interest in each other, so we kept going on dates. In the same time period, I have also gone on dates with a few girls, but I didn't feel the spark to continue the dates with them. So, at least for myself, I stuck to this girl and hoped things to fare well between us. I knew that she was also seeing someone else, and she was transparent with me about him. I haven't met him, but I give credit to her for being open about the current state of things between us and her. At the beginning of our dates, she mentioned she was looking for a serious relationship and needed time to engage, needed time to engage in sexual intimacy until she found out she found that comfort in space. I agreed to that and was okay since I don't have a high libido these days. Nigga, you're 26, you don't have a high libido? Crazy work. 26, my dick was constantly hard, like 17 hours a day. Like, bro, what the fuck? I'm 31 now. I can't. Homie, he's struggling. No, I'm just kidding. I'm fucking around. The other day, we finally engaged in sex after a close to 2-month period. And during post-sex conversations, I got to know that she's engaged in sex already with the other person that she was seeing. Now I know it's none of my business, but I tried to get more details out of her. She was also going on dates with this other guy since the last 2.5 months, and she has already engaged in sex with him. I am not bummed about the number of times they had engaged in sex already, but rather the timing of the first one they had, which was around the first week after they met. I tried to be open and possessive about all of this, but I felt I was made to wait a couple of months, not to compare, but I felt like I was being treated as a second choice. I played it cool at that point of time, but since then, this kept nagging at me a lot, and my ego/confidence took a hit somehow, if that makes sense. I contacted her yesterday, told her how I am feeling, and just blocked her. I didn't wait for a response, nor was I looking for one to safeguard myself and my emotions. So am I wrong for doing so? Is this how the current dating space looks like? Any advice?
Oh, man. So, right from the jump, right? One, I can't speak on the current dating market right now. It's not my place.
Don't worry, bro. I got you right after.
But what I would say is, no, dude, like so in the beginning, you did some weak boy shit, some little boy shit, right? She came to you and was like, yeah, I'm looking for something serious after I suck and fuck anything that I want, right? And from then, you said, that's fine with me. So she was like, okay, I already have this doper dude lined up, right? I like him a lot more than you, so I'm going to fuck him immediately. And then you, I guess, right, if I feel like it, eventually I might go ahead and entertain some shit for you, right? You allowed that for those 2 months, and then, like you said, you tried to have some exclusivity, you dated a little bit, weren't really feeling the spark. But you should have had the thought in your mind, as soon as you had that thought of like, I do want us to be exclusive, and she was transparent about she's not being exclusive, just like, all right, then this is not what I want. I shouldn't remain.
Yeah, you should have walked away then.
Exactly. I shouldn't give my time more to someone who's not in alignment with me, and I should go find someone else, right? Because that's a possibility, right? You had the like little weak boy shit where you thought in your mind, there's no way, or I have to cling on to what I have right here because this is what I'm feeling currently, you know? And you got to have that discipline, which you started to realize after some time of like, all right, this is not what I want. I can find something else later on down the line. I don't need to put up with this. And that's why you sent that text and blocked her immediately. You didn't wait for an explanation. You didn't wait for any type of response or anything like that, because you knew there's not really a reason, or there's not really any explanation that she could give to change her mind. So from the jump, you should have thought about it a little harder and before having sex with this lady, because you have no idea just how, she was transparent about one dude, but you don't know exactly how many people she was actually seeing and having sexual relations with, which puts you at risk, you know, your health, your sanity, all types of stuff, you know.
100%.
So from the jump, now I would say definitely you have a little bit more ammo to go off of, where it's like, all right, next woman that comes up with some shit like this, if I'm not feeling it, if I'm not really open to it, I need to at least think about it for maybe 1 to 2 days, and then tell her straight out how I feel, you know.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, you also have to understand that this is how women date. Women date very, how would you say? They date with a wide range of net. Okay. And what I mean by that is men, you know, we kind of date very singularly. We will kind of just mess with one woman kind of at the same at one time. We don't really mess with multiple girls all at the same time, because we know how much of a headache women are, and we know how much, you know, it takes to even just attract one woman. So trying to do that on a scale of like 5 or 6, are there guys that can do that? 1000%. But women date with a wider net. And so what they do is they do a little thing we like to call monkey branching. All right. And so that is when they're holding on to one guy that they actually want to be with, while they're simultaneously holding on to another guy that they sort of like. He's there, you know, he's all right, but he's not what they want. And so I guarantee what was happening is that she met both of you, right? Now, the other guy was actually who she wanted, but homeboy to her was playing games, not texting her back, not giving her, you know, the attention that she wanted. You know, she's thinking he's playing games and snaps. She's like, oh, I could do that too. Met your dumbass. And let's be honest, I'll tell you why you're a dumbass in a minute. Met your dumbass, went on a date with you, and was just like, oh, okay, you know, this is a good little secondary guy. Just in case things don't work out with the main guy. All right. So she had already had sex with the main guy, probably even before meeting you. she had already, you know, been writing in her notebook, you know, her name, his last name, all that shit. She was totally into this guy. She was really never into you. You were just kind of there as the preliminary guy. You were there because she didn't want to be single. She didn't want to be alone. You were the placeholder boyfriend, as we like to say. And so it got to a point where homeboy over here, things finally, you know, erupted, because what happens with a lot of women is a lot of women think that they found a guy and they think, oh yeah, I'm in a relationship with this guy, or I'm in a situationship with this guy, and this guy really likes me, he wants me, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And then guess what happens? To her, they're in the situationship, lockdown, whatever, exclusiveness. And then on his end, he's just like, that's not my girl. Like, I'm just messing with her. I'm just fucking with her. It is what it is. She finds out that he's talking to other women. She's just like, bah, 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 what the heck? Gets mad. And then decided to have sex with you finally. That was the only reason why you got sex out of this girl. You only got sex out of this girl because she stopped talking to him to some capacity. She didn't completely stop talking to him completely, but to some capacity she stopped talking to him. And so when she stopped talking to him, then she looked at it like, well, I got my preliminary guy right there, i.e. monkey branching. She let go of one branch to then hold on to the other branch because she knew she had that branch laying in the wait. Now, like my boy said, this is where you're the dumbass. You sat there and you stayed in this fucking relationship for 2.5 months. When in reality, bro, if a girl ain't trying to give you sex within the first I would say 2 to 3 weeks, if a man, she don't really like you like that. It is what it is, bro. I'm sorry to say it, but like I said previously, if a girl likes you, she is going to go above and beyond. She's going to break rules. You know, there are no like, oh, I'm making this guy wait, and oh, I did this because you want to know what she did to you? She did the whole, oh, you know, you're husband material, so I'm going to make you wait. But that guy, he's not husband material, so I'm not going to make him wait. That's exactly what she did to you, dumbass. And that's why I call you dumbass, because that's exactly what you did, and you sat in that shit. And you probably saw it. I'm not sitting here acting like, you know, you don't know this piece of information, or you don't know that this was happening. You probably knew this was happening, but your fucking stupid little hindbrain was just like, no, I want to be with her. Oh my God. She's the only girl in the fucking world that gets me. Like, fuck, dude. I can't stand when dudes do that. When they sit there and they think that this girl is the only girl in the fucking world, and you know that she's not. You said you went out on a date with other women, so it's like, why are you sitting here tolerating that girl? And I tell you this because we love you, nigga. We don't want you out here looking stupid because these bitches, man. Like, bro, getting your dick wet, it's not all that worth it, if I'm being honest with you. From a girl that just doesn't give a fuck about you, it's just not worth it. You're waiting 2.5 months to get your dick wet for what? You know, and you could have found a girl that let you do it in 2 weeks, probably even a week.
That's the thing. Like, you should really think about it, right? You were like, I feel like I was made to wait 2.5 months, right? So you're giving her the power, right? Because you said it yourself. I feel like I was made to wait.
Yeah.
Do you think that man that hit within the first week felt like he was made to wait that week? No. She thought to herself, I can't make this dude wait.
Oh, 100%.
She was like, I'm going to lose this opportunity if I make this man wait.
Yep.
And that's why my boy said, the whole monkey branch, where you were held on to and you allowed her to have that grip on you by making you wait, because you thought there was some spark or something, right, that you couldn't get in the immediate future, or even have the discipline to wait for on someone that's actually worth it, from someone that's actually worth it. And like I said, she didn't make him wait because he wasn't going to wait. And you decided to. And she saw that. She knew that. And
she was like, this nigga ain't going nowhere. Yeah, he ain't going nowhere, but this guy's going somewhere. Yep. He'll leave. Yep. I gotta give him what he wants because he'll leave. So yeah, no. Hey, W analysis, man. You know, hey, and it was nice by having you on the shows. You be picking up on things that I don't pick up in the story, and because there's sometimes I'm like, yeah, that happened. Was that in there? And, you know, it's just those small details that you'll remember. I like that. All right, on to our next one. What do? I think my husband is cheating on me with my bestie. Woo! All right, so me, 40 female, and my husband, 36 male, have been together for 6 years. Lately, he's been coming home from work really late. At first, I brushed it off because his job can be demanding, but it's happening more and more. On top of that, our sex life is basically non-existent now.
Cooked.
Facts. We used to be close and affectionate, and now he barely touches me. When I try to initiate, he seems distracted or just not interested. What really sets off an alarm bell for me is my best friend. She has been around us a lot over the years, which never bothered me before. But recently I noticed he's gotten a lingerie pic from her. She played it off like I sent that by accident, but that just doesn't sit right with me. Yeah, you don't.
Stop the cap.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Stop the cap.
Why is my husband even getting a picture like that from my best friend? When we all hung out together, they joke nonstop. He makes her laugh in this way I haven't seen in a long time. They have inside jokes, shared looks, little comments that I don't understand. I'll ask what they're talking about, and they'll just say, "Oh, nothing. You had to be there," or laugh it off. It makes me feel stupid and excluded. I'm sitting here thinking I married this man. Why do I feel like the third wheel? What do I do? Hit him with it, doctor.
So, I mean, I honestly, I don't know what more proof you need, you know? Do you actually need to see him balls deep in her before you realize, like, yeah, he's fucking her? An accidental lingerie pic, inside jokes, uninterested in you, like, and you're talking about these are things that you notice that stopped abruptly, right? No dude is just gonna be like, you know what, dude, I'm not having sex with my wife ever again, dude. That's awful. That's terrible. I would not want to do that. Like, of course, you notice these things because you're used to a pattern, you're used to a baseline, and he has broken that. And to be honest, she was never your bestie. If she's willing to do some shit like this, she was never your bestie. She was there for you for a time, but then she saw an opportunity and was like, damn, she's got a pretty dope dude, you know? Or she thought, right? Because a real dope dude's not doing this to you. But that's the thing, right? You're not crazy. You're trying to gaslight yourself into staying in the relationship, like I said before, because you think he's a dope dude.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you just got to take the blinders off and understand that that was an accidental pick. These inside jokes are because they're building a relationship, and you got to get out of there, you know? Yeah. Whether you have a prenup or not, take half his shit, don't take half his shit.
Do what you gonna do on that one. I never really give marriage advice like that.
Yeah,
but
and you know, that's just the thing, you know. You don't really need too much more to confront them on this. If they're gonna try to gaslight you anyways, because I mean, I can't think of one person you're gonna confront them and they're like, yeah, we are cheating on you. Actually, you know what? We're just gonna build a life together until it just gets to that point where he's actually tired of you, and it's like, all right, dude, like, in order to actually keep this going to where I want to make her the main, I'm going to go ahead and divorce you and marry her, you know? You don't need to sit around and wait for that, honestly. No. You have enough evidence. You have enough intuition. Get out. Stop wasting your time. You'll find another dude, one that actually cares about you, is not doing stupid shit. And, I mean, you don't need this best friend because... What, you're going to try to save face and hope that she changes and doesn't do this to another dude that you start dating 100%. Or something, right? Like, she's already broken the bond between you. He's broken the bond between you.
Yeah.
This is just evidence for you to be like, I now no longer have to be tied to these people.
Yeah.
You know? You have a lot of mental anguish being built up from this stuff, and you don't need to tie yourself to that anymore. Yeah, it's I'll say it probably will be pretty hard to get out of that situation. But once you start building towards something better, it's gonna be as if that shit was trivial. You know, it was the only right option. And, I mean, what are your thoughts?
Honestly, no, I 100% agree. I wouldn't have said it better myself. Being honest with you, it's like you pulled it all right out of my head and just said it out of your mouth. If I'm being honest with you, man, yeah, dude. I think that, you know, you have all the evidence that you need. He's already made up his mind. You know, he's a younger guy. You're an older woman. So he may look at it like, you know, he's not as attracted to you as he thought he was when you guys first got together. And so, you know, he's looking at your friend. And he's like, oh, she's a lot more attractive. She's a lot more this, that. But if I'm being honest with you, it's a thing where their relationship is going to end the way that you guys are ending. If I'm being real with you, I always say this. It's like how you get a girl is how you lose a girl.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that he did how he got you is how he's losing you. No, it's a simple thing of this relationship that he's going to have with your best friend. It's going to crumble. And I guarantee you in probably like a year or so, he's going to be coming back to you talking about, oh, babe, I miss you and I love you and I want our family back and this and that. Why? Because your friend ain't going to be about it for that long. I guarantee you what it is your friend right now loves the sneakiness and she loves the fun of it. And, oh, he's a married man and this and that. And we got to, sneak around and have fun. Once that fun is gone, bro, she's not going to be with it anymore. She might be with it for a little bit, 6 months, maybe a year, enjoying an actual, monogamous full-on relationship, but after a while, man, the sneakiness ain't gonna be fun for her. And you want to know what's gonna happen is she's gonna do that to your husband. She gonna go sneak with somebody else.
Yep.
And like I said, how you get her is how you lose her.
Yep.
So the fact that she's your bestie is willing to steal a man from another woman, well, who says that she's not gonna do that to somebody else?
Exactly.
Like, come on, bro. So, and if I'm being honest with you, you're going to walk out of this with a W because he's going to come back to you eventually. Like I said, it may not be, 3 months. It may not be 6 months. It may not even be a year. But there'll be eventually a time where you're going to get that text message. You're going to get that Instagram message. You're going to get that Facebook message, whatever it is. And he's going to be sitting there trying to ask for you back and all that stuff. But yeah, my boy is right, dude. Piece of chicken grease.
I feel like you're right, because like you said, how you get her is how you lose her, right? And he's losing you to dishonesty. So, I mean, if that doesn't tell you that he probably started the relationship with some type of dishonesty,
Yeah.
Probably put on some type of facade or he definitely down the line without your knowledge was a little dishonest in some form or fashion, whether that's like, I do want to be with you forever. I would like to marry you. I would cherish you, whatever the case may be. He said those vows. And then now he's doing, 6 years later, he's doing whatever with your bestie, right? There's got to be some dishonesty there. He wasn't being honest with himself. He wasn't being honest with you, where he was like, this is what I feel like I want right now. But in the back of my mind, I kind of don't feel like I do want to be with this girl for the rest of my life. And then from there, who knows what it took for the bestie to come in and be like, you know what, dude? Like, I actually do want to be with her for a little bit on this fling or whatever the case may be. And then, like you said, she's going to do the same thing where if they get together, she's going to be one infinite loop until someone starts to realize, you know what, I do want to live my life with more honesty, more integrity, more purpose than just whatever's fun or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. And it's like, man, y'all 40, get it together. Like, fuck, man. All right, let's get on to our next one. Am I overreacting? I was fine with my boyfriend watching porn until he told me what he watches. Am I overreacting?
No.
I, 20 female, have been with my boyfriend, male 22, for 9 months now, and I recently asked him what type of porn he watches. Okay, that's where you went wrong. All right, let's be honest here. You never asked that. Hey, that's crazy work. Okay, I knew that he watched porn, didn't know how often, I still don't know, and it never bothered me. He was hesitant to tell me at first, but he said that he watches one specific porn star and that he has been loyal to her. Okay. I don't know if I am just being sensitive, but that made me feel very insecure. I laughed it off in the moment, but I've been feeling, shit ever since. The porn star in question is very physically and sexually attractive. She is a lot thinner than me and does a lot of cosplay related pornos. It bothers me that she's skinnier because he has always said that he would prefer if I didn't lose weight, and that he likes that I'm chubby. This is now making me feel like he is lying to me and just doesn't want to hurt my feelings by telling me he would prefer I lose weight. We are both quite nerdy, and I would happily be in a cosplay outfit for him if it's the fantasy he has. It's never really come up as I've never really had a desire to do cosplay, but it looks cool and it seems like a thing I would enjoy, but I have had that many hobbies and never really had time for it. It never bothered me because I would sometimes watch hentai when I masturbated. I tend to look at all types of bodies and never stick to the same thing. I assumed he was the same. When I do masturbate, I mostly think of both of us together and don't need anything more. Well, yeah, it's kind of a woman trait. Us dudes, we need that variety. We need to look at different women. I've tried to overthink, but I try not to overthink this, but I can't help but feel I am not enough for him. It's been especially hard because we recently had a discussion about our sex drives, and mine is significantly higher than his, and I can't help but wonder if it's because he'd rather be looking at porn than being with me. I was thinking the same. I don't want to stop him from watching porn, but I feel as though the way he watches it has possibly hindered our sex life. This all happened in the last 24 hours. He can tell something's off about me, and he's getting worried, but I don't think it's the right time to have this discussion. He's ill with some type of flu. I don't know, or I don't think now is the right time for this. I need to somehow manage to keep my emotions in check until we have this chat. Any advice or reality check would be helpful.
So
hit him with it.
That was a lot. I'm not going to lie. So, I mean, it kind of ties into the story before where how you get him is how you lose him, right? And from the jump where you asked him about it and he was hesitant, there's a lot of discussion about like men and porn and lust and all that type stuff and how it poisons the mind.
Oh yeah, we talk about it all the time on this show.
Yeah,
we a couple episodes ago we had a dude who was in a relationship with a girl, and homeboy carries a pocket pussy around with him 24/7.
Jesus Christ,
it's crazy. Yeah,
and that's what I'm getting at, where it's like if it was something that was open and common about, like you would never see a man or a woman go through life and be like, yeah, I value honesty in a relationship and try to hide that, you know what I mean? Because that's a virtuous trait to have, you know what I mean? You don't hide things that are virtuous.
True.
For him, he's like, he's using that virtuous trait of loyalty to this porn star where it's like, yeah, okay. And I've made this kind of argument before when talking to other people about whether I think porn is bad or good or whatever the case may be. Like you said, as men, I feel like it's almost in the same realm as, this might be a little hot take, as video games though, you know what I mean? Every day, you know, I'm a gamer. I go online. I play Fortnite, GTA, Siege, stuff like that. There's times where I envision myself doing that stuff, but it's more so like a fantasy world where like I don't see myself going in real life and doing that stuff, but I'm like, oh, dude, like having fun playing these games, slaughtering people, whatever the case may be, jacking cars, whatever, right? Yeah. Like, you know, how video games are, or even some of the more tame stuff where I'm a huge Stardew Valley fan. I like some of those indie games, stuff like that, where, you know, you're being a farmer, you're doing whatever. Those
so you
are
can
like
kind of envision yourself being a farmer, or being this or being that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And it's like those stuff are not tied to the real world, so it's just more so a way for you to, I guess, just have like fantasies fulfilled, or like. So
would it be escapism?
Escapism in a way, right? Okay. Which I did recently come to find that just through talk of, you know, the different spaces of like psychology, other men, stuff like that, may in itself just be a way for myself personally just be escaping some form of like loneliness or other emotions that are just there, you know? And it's the same thing for him, where he feels he has some type of connection or some type of personal validation from being quote unquote loyal to this porn star.
So do you feel when he was single that this porn star was in a way his girlfriend.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I feel like that's how he thought of it, because like if you go to the idea of what loyalty is, it means just giving yourself to, you know, morals, a person, whatever the case may be. I don't know if she knows who this guy is. I don't know if it's like one of those like live creators where you donate to them or have conversations or whatever, right? If it is, then, you know, it makes more sense where he feels like he has actions to this loyalty.
Okay, there's like a parasocial
yeah, exactly.
connection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If not, if she has no idea who he is, I think you yourself need to understand that he's delusional. He's got something in his brain where he's not healthy, in some sorts, in some aspects, right? I'm not going to say he's totally mentally deranged or anything like that. No. Point being, I do feel like he's lied to you. He's lying to you. And you got to just really, once you come to terms with the idea of like, all right, he may need some help, you got to approach it in the space of he doesn't really see it the way that you see it. And so in order to have the conversation, you need to start it off with like, all right, would you be open-minded to a conversation about this porn star? You know, you got to have the remove yourself from the situation, right? Don't speak from your perspective, your point of view. Speak from like maybe a third party, because if you guys argue emotions, he's going to get defensive, you're going to get defensive, nothing's going to get resolved, right? I would say my only advice that you can do is hope for the best, but don't expect the best, you know?
Ooh, yeah.
It's one of those things where you're going to lay out what you're going to lay out to him. And like I talked about earlier in the show, people will gaslight themselves into any rhyme or reason for defending their own actions. And it's just one of those things where in his actual heart, he may feel like it's not a big deal, or you shouldn't be making a big deal about it. But you just got to sit down, have the conversation. And if it doesn't line up with what you want from a relationship, then it's done. It's no one's fault. You guys just aren't compatible. It's fine.
Yeah.
You got to just deal with it on your own terms, and he'll deal with it on his terms. He'll probably go back to her in his loyalty, and you know, it'll be the same as if you never met him. You know, you'll have more knowledge, more learning experience from what happened, what transpired. But at the same time, don't go in there expecting that he'll just like, oh, you're right, let me get rid of this, like complete 180. You know?
Yeah. Now I talk about this a lot because this is a actual what is it? Not psychiatrist, but a psychologist, you know, analysis is that they look at porn as there's two categories of men. There are the category of men that can separate porn into there is fantasy and there is reality, and then there's another archetype of man where they blend the fantasy into their reality. Which one do you think that he is? Because he still has a girlfriend, he still has somewhat normalcy with her, but I would think the loyalty to this woman that obviously doesn't know who he is, I think that's kind of where it blurs it in. But I don't know, what do you think that what type of archetype is he?
So I would definitely say that's a very thin line. You know, I don't have too much experience on like the whole psychology of things. My knowledge comes from what I've seen online, what I've read, things of that nature. And it's just one of those things where I feel like for him, he is blending the two, but he doesn't realize it, you know?
Okay.
They say the body, the mind, the subconscious doesn't recognize what's real and what's fake, what's a lie, what's not, right? Where you can tell yourself a lie 100 times a day for, you know, a month, and eventually your subconscious will deem it to be true, right? Same thing with like, you know, the earth was flat, the earth was the center of the universe. That was a scientific fact way back in the day, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of scientific facts that were just recently disproven, and it's the same thing with this guy where he's like, I feel like in his mind he's saying like, no, it is separate. Consciously he's saying it's separate, but like I said, the subconscious doesn't know the difference between fake and real. you're just gonna like you get in those intimate situations with just the porn star, and when you have those intimate situations with real life, I actually have like a kind of personal case of this where I had this coworker that was explaining the same thing about their partner, and their partner was very vocal about, I want to try this stuff that I've seen, They had the determination of like, I keep it separate, but this is also something that I've liked, right? Where it's like, that this porn star does X, Y, and Z. And she's even said it where it's like, I'd be willing to act out or do cosplay for him, where it's like, that's where the line is starting to blur. He likes cosplay from this porn star. She would be willing to do cosplay to mimic this porn star, mixing the two realities, where it's like, yeah, you can say that you keep them separate, but at the same time, right, it starts to affect you, right? We see it in all types of humans where they say violent video games make kids violent. It's one of those things where what you fill your head with is going to start becoming your reality. Like the doctor situation where they look at teeth all day. They want to make sure, dentist, right, want to make sure teeth are healthy. So he brings it into his dating life. It's the same thing with.
So you're saying that he's the first archetype where he can separate reality and fantasy, but because there's certain factors, it's starting to slowly like blur that, and he's becoming the second archetype like slowly, just because of the fact that for one, he has this weird parasocial loyalty. Two, his girlfriend is willing to do the things that this porn star is doing in their real relationship. And then three, he's telling himself this kind of lie, and he's told it so many times that he believes it's true and perceives it as loyalty.
It's hard to say,
Yeah.
It's almost to the idea of like there's no way to separate it, because you go through life, you see we've all known those kids in high school that are like, they see the action movie badass and they're like, oh, he's like, I work alone. So they go to school and they're like, I work alone. Like, they try to implement that in real life. Yeah,
they imitate what they see.
Exactly. And it's the same. It's interesting to think about. I feel like it's sort of similar where, you watch a YouTube tutorial on, I don't know, fixing like the drain or something. You go out there and do it in real life, and then it's like, okay, you acted out what's real. That in itself is not, you can't say that video is separate from reality. Just like the same things with what you watch in like porn or like OnlyFans women or whatever. You can't say that it's really separate from reality when you can come back to reality and still try to act those things out, so
true,
it's just an interesting thing to think about, where maybe it's possible to keep them separate, or maybe people think it is possible, but it's really not. It's hard to say.
And that's what I love about having you on the show today, because again, there's a lot of topics for me. This ain't nothing new. This is another day in the office, if I'm being honest with you. Dudes are always whacking it to porn and their girlfriends. I'm like, how the hell y'all got a girlfriend if you whacking it to porn like that? That's crazy. Like, I can't even find to beat my own meat. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, I'm so busy, I can't even find time to beat my own meat. So how the hell y'all niggas getting a girlfriend and beating your meat? But it is what it is. Some people got more time than others. But, it's one of those things where it's just like, I am loving your perspective, because it is allowing me to kind of see a little bit of the other side of the coin. And, I like to look up and be well versed in psychology and psychiatry, because it does help me answer their questions. Right. It does help me with their scenarios and situations, and I like it because you bring it from a different perspective. I do like that. I do think that's one of those things where he is in a very weird thin line of like, he is but he isn't. But yeah, as far as to her question, are you overreacting? Let's pull the question up verbatim. It is, am I overreacting? I was fine with my boyfriend watching porn until he told me what he watches. I personally don't think you're overreacting, because he has this weird parasocialness with just one girl. Now, if dude loved anal or whatever, or he loved feet or some shit, then I'd be like, girl, calm the fuck down. It is what it is. Let him suck on your feet a little bit, and maybe you can do the anal. That's up to you. But it's just one of those things where it's like, even if you break up, and I tell this to all women, if you break up with this dude because of porn, you get with the next guy, he watches porn too. It is what it is. It's what guys do. We just have that proclivity and we have that sex drive like that, you know. Obviously for women, they don't need porn. They can, you know, think about it all in here. That's why men like porn and women like sex books, you know, because they're able to do it with their mind. We got to see some shit though. So, you know what I mean? It's not different. It's different, but it's the same, you know, because they're visual in their mind while we're visual, you know, on a phone, or we're visual through pictures or whatever the case may be. It's why Playboy got big, you know. It's why Playboy magazines were a thing, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, so I mean, to you, do you think she's overreacting?
No, I wouldn't say she's overreacting. Just have the conversation. I feel like, yeah, like you were saying, right? If it was a particular attribute, that's absolutely like understandable. You know what I mean? Like he said, he's just trying to make you comfortable where you're at because he doesn't want to make you feel bad about like the whole not losing weight. But at the same time, you know, in his mind, in his subconscious, right? It's there where, like you said, your libidos are different, where yours is way higher, his is way lower. It's probably
but she thinks because of the porn.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's probably because he's not that attracted to you because of his adulation of this porn star that's skinnier. You know? He won't say that. He won't come out and say it because I guarantee if he had that porn star right in front of him, he wouldn't say like, "Oh, I just don't have the."
Yeah, he wouldn't be like, "Oh, I don't have the libido."
I don't have the libido. Yeah.
Honestly, lose the weight, girl. Lose the fucking weight, and don't do it for him. Do it for you.
Yourself.
Yeah, do it for you because it's one of those things where, you know, you're a little chubby now. I guarantee you, girl, give it like 6 months to a year. You lose that weight, you looking fine as hell. You can probably leave that nigga. I ain't gonna lie to you. Yeah, I mean, let's be straight.
Yeah.
You know, you're only 20 years old. You can leave him. Like, bro. And if I'm being honest with you, you can get with a guy of a lot higher status.
Yes.
Lose that weight.
Yes.
You're looking straight. You're looking right. You know, and then do the little cosplay things, girl. I'm telling you. Woo, lose that weight. Do a little cosplays, girl.
Oh, God.
You about to go crazy. So, yeah, man. All right, let's get on to the next one. Am I wrong? Is this cheating? I have been married to my wife for around 3 years now and dated for another 2 before that. 5 months into our relationship, I discovered a text message from my wife to her previous boyfriend who supposedly cheated on her, which said, "Heart wants something, but minds say something else." Okay, he was a little cryptic, I guess, which hurt me a lot since I took it as I was the more prudent option for her. We had a huge fight and I offered to break it off. She made promises about never talking to this person again, and I accepted it and moved on, but never forgetting it. Fast forward last year, April, when she said she was 2 months pregnant, I found out that she had gone to visit this person at his hotel when he was visiting the city. While I accepted her explanation that she only talked to him in the hotel lobby for a brief period, mostly catching up about life, and that was it. I can't accept the fact that this happened behind my back and that I discovered it only because, well, I sensed something. The fact that she deleted their conversation on the phone before coming back made matters even worse for me. I will reiterate that I accept that there was nothing sexual that happened, but this episode itself counts as cheating to me since things happened behind my back and promises made to me were broken. So tell me, if this counts as cheating because she wants to see this as a harmless meeting, or is it not cheating because she later told me about it? I'm going to get out the kitchen for a second. Let the man cook.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, again, I feel like these are just a little straightforward, you know? You have your evidence. You know what's going on. A lot of people like to think, like, you know, am I overreacting for having my moral standpoint? Am I being too harsh, you know? Which I can understand, you know, I definitely get, because people want to make sure they're making the right decision. That's another thing I learned from sales is a lot of people have, and it translates anywhere, are afraid of buyer's remorse, as they call it, or just making a dumb decision where you later regret a decision that you made, you know? And for this aspect, right, 5 months in, you guys, you discovered text messages, and then she made a bunch of excuses, a bunch of promises that she would never talk to him again, right? For whatever reason, it was a little unclear through the statement, but if they plan to meet up, then 100% this was cheating, you know.
Okay, I can go back in and clear it up for you, because I do like to, go things verbatim. That way we're not misconstruing anything or anything like that. It does say, I found out that she had gone to visit this person at this hotel when he was visiting my city. So she planned to go here. Yeah. It was a thing, they planned this beforehand. So.
Right. And that's what I was getting at, where it's like, just to lay it all out, she said never again. Years later, they somehow got in contact where he was like, I'm in your city, come see me. And that in and of itself, where she was like, yes, I will come see you. For whatever reason, like, if you got a good thing going on, what do you need to go see that man for?
Exactly.
There's not anything, there's no clarity, there's no closing the book, there's none of that you need, because that's not going to help the life that you already have, So you go out there, and then she deletes messages, she hides it from you. You only found out because you did some investigating yourself. Mm-hmm. And it's like, like I said, what more evidence do you need, right? Like I said earlier, you wouldn't hide the fact, like, oh, I'm an honest person, from a partner, because that's a virtuous trait, If you feel the need to hide it, if you feel the need to keep it buried away, or like, oh, I shouldn't say it right now because of emotions, it's dishonesty, it's lying. You have the evidence, right? Mm-hmm. Now she's pregnant, and that's
the kicker.
That is exactly the kicker.
Yes, because now you're bringing a kid into this, and you're thinking about leaving. Yeah. So it's that. I think that's why he's posing this question, is because she. Now, I think if they weren't having this kid, he probably would have left. He'd have been like, it's a cut, cold answer. It is what it is. It's a very black and white at this point. I'm leaving. Yeah. But because they have this kid, I think that's why they're like, yo, Dr. Michael, what's up, bro? I need some help. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like for yourself, right, you have a set of morals, a set of virtues that you stand on. And I absolutely love that. And for the sake of your future son or daughter, you need to stand on those and show, right, that there's no resentment towards mom or anything like that. And that's just one thing that I would say for you is, like, handle it in the situation that you would want your son or daughter to handle a situation that's done to them, right? Mm-hmm. AKA, if you have a daughter and her husband betrays her trust, right, how would you want them to cordially work things out, Yeah. Handle it the exact same way. Think about it, handle it that way, and set the example for your son or daughter. So that way they can know, like, all right, dad did this because he stands on these morals. If they look up to you, if you're truly a virtuous man, they'll follow in those same exact footsteps, and they'll be prepared. They'll learn from the mistakes that you made or the processes that you went through, and they won't have to go through the exact same thing. 5 years later, they got a kid with someone that they shouldn't be with,
Yeah.
So
yeah. And he's a father, so he understands, what you're gonna go through, what you're, dealing with, right, and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, honestly, this was a great scenario to pose to him, because he is a dad. Yeah. I'm not a dad. I don't have kids like that. Right. So I I don't know. And he's been in that situation where, he has his girl pregnant, and he has to put things in place and figure things out and be like, okay, this is what I got to do. This is what I got to do. And this is what you have to do. You got to put things in place and figure things out. Is your situation different? Yeah, because, your girl's a little infidel, but it is what it is. You as the man got to put things in place and figure things out. And so, yeah, man, like I said, with him being a dad, this was a great one for you. Yeah. I'm being honest with you. You were able to give him, better advice than I would even be able to give him. Because I agree with you. It's cut and dry. This is something where you're just going to have to co-parent with her. come to an agreement and be like, hey, look, man, I didn't like what you did. This is not cool. I don't believe your bullshit, because she's going to sit there and be like, oh my God, no, I promise I won't do it. Nah, bro, you already broke that. I tell this all the time to people who are in cheating situations. I say this all the time on the show, okay? If your partner or your spouse cheats on you and you feel that they are a person deemed worthy of a second chance, give them that second chance, but put their feet to the fire, which you did. You definitely put her feet to the fire. You didn't forget, and that was the key. That's what you said in there. You were like, I forgave her, but I didn't forget. And that's what you do. You forgive them, but you don't forget. And you put their feet to the fire, and you make them prove to you that, hey, they're going to stick to their word. She didn't stick to her word. Now it's time to go, bro. It's time to go. But you guys do have this kid. So now that you have this kid, I say you put things in place, i.e., put it in a situation where you guys are co-parenting, and let it be what it gonna be. And if she ain't got a place to live, oh well, you're a grown ass adult and you got to figure it out, baby girl. You know, you gotta figure it out. We got to do something, because like I said, it's not gonna be easy for you guys going forward because of that child. You know, and so it's one of those things where it's like you're gonna be attached to this woman for the rest of your life, and so you gotta make sure that you're in a position where you'll be all right. You know, you gotta look out for you at the end of the day, and that's what it comes down to. You know, so yeah, man. All right, we're gonna get into our last scenario for today's episode. But if you guys have been enjoying this episode, definitely let our boy Michael know you've been enjoying it. All right, and so I think this has been a fire episode. I agree. You know, people are gonna get a lot of value off this. They're gonna love you. And they're going to hope that you'll come back. You know, it's funny because when I started this podcast, he was actually supposed to be a host on the show. Yes. We were supposed to co-host this whole thing. So if you guys love having our boy Dr. Chef it up a little bit today, let me know down in the comments. All right, put some pressure on him and be like, hey, man. Co-host this motherfucking show. We tired of this nigga over here, man. All right, so you know, let him know, show him some love, all that good stuff, okay? And we're gonna definitely try to have him back on future episodes, because honestly, it's like I'm loving the back and forth. I'm loving, you know, what we got going on. Definitely, you're a little more philosophical and knowledgeable, and I really like that. Yeah. Because you're really taking it serious for the people who want to be serious, and we're joking for the people who just want to joke. You know, right? I like it. I love it. That's what I built this show on. So I really like it. But we're gonna get into today's last scenario. All right, so this one is, am I overreacting? Is my wife cheating or looking for attention? I grabbed my kid's phone because I got a text from my wife saying, don't let her send messages to the family group. It is a shared phone for her to play with, but we can't really do anything else it can't do anything else unless connect to the Wi-Fi. When I looked at the text, I saw a suspicious name underneath the text my kid had sent to the family. I started digging and something didn't seem right. I'm not a computer whiz or app savvy at all, but somehow realized that you can access my wife's Instagram through the phone. Well, yeah, because she probably downloaded Instagram and just put it on there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, yeah. Like, you ain't got to be savvy to know that one, my guy. He might be an older guy, though. There were naked to mostly naked with phrases I've never heard her say before, captioned in the photos. She was dirty talking up in them messages. I confronted my wife, and she says it was only for attention, and she has felt depressed with work and family stuff for the last 2 years. As far as I can tell, this has been happening for 3 months and seen as recently as today. Did she just ruin our 20 plus year marriage? Am I to believe that it was just for attention that she wasn't getting from me? We live in a small town and both individuals are somewhat prominent individuals. Do I text his wife to inform her and let this whole thing blow up? Any advice will help. Thank you, Michael. Hit him up, Chef.
This is a tough one, you know.
Ooh, man, hey.
This one actually, yeah.
Yeah. There's always one every episode that kind of stumps me a little bit, but I try my best.
I would say it takes more so. This is like a really, really personal opinion type question, because at the end of the day, you understand that a line was crossed. Now, the reason for that line is what really you need to think about, right? Because she says she needs it for attention, that means in her mind there's something lacking, right? It's not on you. It can't be on you, because at the end of the day, people will feel what they want to feel, if she felt like she was getting enough support, enough attention, enough whatever from you, it's not a reflection of what you're doing to her to an extent, but at the same time, it is her in her mind creating these ideas of like, my husband, I'm sure you've said to her that you like her body in some, or you find her physically attractive in some sort of fashion, right? So if that was enough for her, then she wouldn't be doing this with whoever, like the neighbor or the other person in town, So deep within her is what I'm getting at, is there's a need for more, a need for maybe a lack of loneliness, a lack of being isolated, or whatever the case may be. It's something within her that she's trying to fill. And I mean, yeah, it's a conversation of like, why do you need attention? And then you align that with your morals of like, well, what do I hold dear to me, right? Is this something I'm willing to put up with, because if you find that needing attention is something that's not really worth having a big stink about, then let her seek her attention, wait for something physical, but that's on you, right? Personally, I would put it as one and the same, where it's like she has some type of something that she just really needs to work on, where, I don't know if you guys have kids together or if you're planning to.
They do.
Or, okay. Kids. Yeah, you guys have kids together.
This was the kid's phone.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
All this stuff.
Now, if you would want your kid seeing that example and emulating that, or if it would be completely unacceptable for your kid to do the same, why would you not expect the same from the partner? When, like you said, I'm a father. Kids are going to be a spitting image of you in a different format, They take what you do, they have their own interpretation of it, and then they emulate that, because they're kids, they don't have too much control over their conscious thought yet. They just operate solely off of emotion, what happens around them, what's being fed to them, right? They'll get some autonomy later in life, and then that's when they start to figure out who they are per se, versus who you tell them or who you show them they should be. And that's what I'm getting at. You need to sit down with your thoughts and think, is this something I'm willing to look past? If it happens again, it happens 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Or if it's not something you're willing to accept, it's like we talked about in the past one, where it's like, set the example for your kid. Show them that this is not something that you should tolerate. You as the man and them as the child should tolerate, and treat it as a scenario of, how would you want them to handle this situation, or what example would you want to set, Yeah. As for the wife, your wife, I don't know if she's done stuff like this before, whatever the case may be, but clearly, like I said, it's more so the ball is in her court as to what she needs to do. Like I said, if you think about it from your perspective, you get attention from your wife. Do you really need to go talk to any other person and show your body, show whatever, and get attention from them? Or is your internal validation and your wife's validation, your kid's validation enough for you,
Yeah. And that's why I think I'm gonna disagree with you a little bit. I think it's your fault. And the reason I say that is because when a woman goes and seeks this validation and seeks this attention, a lot of times it's because you, the man, are lacking. And what it is that you're lacking is what she is finding in this other guy. And that's why she's showing her body and she's doing that with this guy and stuff like that. Now, obviously, for you, you look at it like, I work a lot, I'm taking care of the kids, family, whatever the case may be. And I get that. And I think that's why I agree with Michael on is, you're a good role model to your kids, and you're showing them that this is not the way to go about things, and this is the way to go about things. But as far as you and her in a relationship together, I think there are things that you are lacking, because I always look at it like, when you're in a relationship, your woman is kind of the spitting image of you, in a way, because you're the leader and she's the follower. You lead, she follows. And the thing is when your girl almost becomes like a spitting image of you, she starts, taking on your phrases. She starts taking on your mannerisms. She starts doing things that you do. Like my previous fiance, I would always say, something of the something variety. I always said that. She started saying that. There were little things that I would do and little things that I would say that she would spitting image of. So it's one of those things where, as a woman, now you guys have been in a marriage for 20 plus years. So I know that she has definitely done this to you, spitting image and all that kind of stuff. So she looks at it like, dang, my man is lacking in this. He doesn't know that he's lacking in this. And I think this is where she goes wrong. She should have communicated that and been like, hey, I'm not getting this. But I think what it is she may have communicated this to you and you just ignored it. You blew it off. You didn't, say anything. And that's why I think it's your fault, because she's probably communicated this to you and you just didn't think anything of it. You didn't think it was that important. So then it pushed her to a point where she was like, all right, well, I'm gonna make a little Instagram account and I'm gonna show guys, my stuff and this and that, because my man is not appreciating or listening to me the way that these guys are and stuff like that. So that's why I think it is your fault that this is kind of happening. Now, the fact that it happened, you look at it like this is cheating. I might want to break up with her. Or, you're asking the question, did she ruin a 20-year relationship? I think you both did. I think this is on both of you guys. I think you not communicating with her, because it was a thing where I guarantee you she tried to communicate with you. You blew it off. And then it was a thing where she kind of took that lack of communication and she did something with it. And so, I think for you, you're only looking at one side of this. You're not really turning that mirror around and being like, maybe I fucked up a little bit, which led her to do this. You know what I mean? I'm not taking the guilt away from her, like 100%. She still had her fault and fuck up in this. But I think your fault and fuck up first is what pushed her to then fault and fuck up. You know what I mean? And I think, I agree with him where it's like, what you should do is reflect on this and you guys talk about it. And if you guys want to, admit your wrongs and be like, you know what, I was wrong for this, you were wrong for that, let's come together and, let's mend this together, then great. But if it's a thing where you feel because this happened, regardless of your fuck up, you feel like it's cheating and you don't want to do this anymore, then don't do it anymore. Don't be in the relationship anymore, because what it's going to do is it's only going to put stress and turmoil on your children. You guys are going to fight all the time. You guys are going to be in this situation. You're going to show resentment towards your wife. And now you're showing your kids that, like he said, your kids are in some way a spitting image of you. So if they see you guys fighting all the time, well, they're going to kind of think that's normal, and they're going to take that into their own relationships when they get older. When they get 14, 15, 16 and they start to like boys or girls or whatever it is, and they're going to start thinking that's normal. Oh, mommy and daddy fight all the time, or mommy, daddy yells at mommy all the time. So this is normal, especially if you have a girl. If you have a girl, she's going to think, dudes yelling at her is like, oh, but he loves me, it's fine. Oh, you don't see how soft he hits me when we're alone. You know what I mean? Like, that shit's going to happen, and you don't want that to happen. So, I think it's a thing where you either come together, talk about it. I fucked up, you fucked up. Let's just get to, let's let bygones be bygones. Let's just move forward. Let's get through this. Let's not let this happen again. Or you say, you know what? This was cheating. I can't get past this. And I think that, we should just split. Yeah. So that's kind of how I see it. That's kind of, I don't know if you.
So I see your point, right? And I kind of hinted at it a little bit earlier where I said it's mainly her fault because everything's a choice, Yeah, 100%. 100%. If you really felt like eventually communication would work, you would keep trying at that bit of like, all right, I gotta communicate to him that I do need more attention in a different way. Yeah. To speak on your point, it's actually something that I find interesting because I watch a lot of creators like this, and I try not to get too involved in that kind of thinking. But it's the I am responsible kind of thought of. There's a specific life coach that I watch on YouTube. I'm not gonna mention his name, but if you know him, you know him. One of his famous phrases is, "It begins and ends with the man." Right? That's relationships. That's daily life. That's everything. You know. And like you were saying, it's one of those things where, to speak on that point, I could see where you're coming from. Where you're right. Dude was not constantly leveling up. He was not staying in the framework of being a dope dude, achieving more and more, or changing things up, keeping things fluid, and it became stagnant. You know, like when you leave water out, bacteria gets in it, it gets all fucked up, or whatever, you leave food out, it expires, stuff like that. You know, if you're not constantly reevaluating, looking at yourself, and you become content. There's a lot of people that talk about being content in a relationship, and that's what kills relationships. That's the deadliest thing, is what they say to a relationship, is just being content. Where, like you said, she communicated like, "Hey, I need a little bit more attention." He was like, "I don't give a fuck, Keisha." You know what I mean? Like, you know, he got content. He was like, "I don't care if you need more attention."
Yeah, he's like, "I'm working, I'm doing this, I'm doing that."
Yeah.
You know, it's excuse after excuse, 100%.
Exactly, and that's where I was getting at, where it's like it could partially be your fault in that aspect of, like, you weren't doing enough for what she originally needed. You know, it sounds like she is the type of woman that needs constant goals to hit, constant attention, constant variety, you know. And she put up with it for a certain amount of time, and then she got tired of it. She was like, "You know what, dude, like, this dude's not doing it for me," you know. And like I said, it begins and ends with the man. The relationship started with you pursuing her, setting things up, being this dope dude that she looked up to and wanted to spend the rest of her life with. And then even still with this end, it ends with you because you either did or didn't step up, and you did something to where she also was like, "This is not really what I want anymore." You know, those are both personal choices that I feel like you just really got to evaluate where your part was in it. And that's why, you know, there's people that would argue it's always the dude's fault, because if you were dope enough, or if you were leveling up enough, or whatever the case may be, you weren't staying stagnant,
She would have no need.
She would have no need for any
for
other
attention.
attention,
Yep.
whatever the case may be. She
Exactly.
would have to, she'd be so busy qualifying herself to you constantly that she wouldn't have time for this attention, other Instagram. Like, she sat down and was like, you know, I went up to the drawing board. Enough. The communication's not there. I'm going to come up with another plan to get attention. Hide this Instagram account, put it on the kid's phone, and then when, you know, she's at school, she's at school, they're at school, he's at work, then I'll take the kid's phone. I'll go ahead, snap these pictures, make the connection with these people in that small town. And it's way more convoluted than you described in there. But to the point of what you're saying is, yeah, I mean, it could be put on him, where she was left with so much time of not fulfilling what he was requiring of her, that she was like, I'm doing something else, got bored, was like, I'm gonna go do something else. You know, not enough from this dude, I need more from other people, which I'm saying is a personal choice from her. She chose to give up on you and went with another source of attention. And like I said, you do with that information what you will, and, you know, either accept it or don't.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude, you guys let me know what you think about that in the comments, as well as everything we've gone over today. I always do this with every guest. Do you want to close out the show now, or you want to do one more? I always extend that to every guest. It's up to you. How do you want to end the show?
We could do one more. I like
You want to
that.
go?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you guys are getting one more then, okay? But yeah, man, definitely let me know what you think about everything in the comments. You know, show our boy some love. Make sure to be like, "Hey, man, get back. Come back here. Come back. Do the show with him. So, all right. This will be our last one for today's episode. If you guys gotten this far, thank you guys so much. Again, patreon.com/Am I the Asshole Podcast. Get an exclusive episode every single Friday, as well as being able to sit in your scenario to be featured on the Tuesday and Sunday show like these people did for today. Without further ado, let's get into it. Am I the asshole for breaking up with my boyfriend after meeting his kids for the first time? Woo! I, 36 female, am a divorced mother of an 11-year-old son. I've been dating a coworker, 38 male, for about 8 months. He is a single dad of 2 boys who are 12 and 9. We had agreed not to introduce our kids until things got serious. So up until last week, we only met outside or at my place when my son was with his dad. Last week, we had a long discussion about the course of our relationship and decided to introduce our kids. I was honestly shocked by several things during our little rendezvous. First, the house was very messy, as if it hadn't been attempted to be cleaned despite knowing that we were coming. Then, when I met his boys, they said hello for maybe 5 seconds and immediately went back to their room despite us having agreed to spend the time on their patio. Since my ex-boyfriend had ordered some nice takeout, she obviously means X as the guy in the scenario. Let's see. They grabbed 2 plates and scurried away from their room. Boyfriend told my son to do the same and go hang out with them. But my son later told me they barely spoke to him at all. Both of his sons are very obviously obese. I don't mean to be insulting. I'm sorry. I do not know how else to describe it. As someone who has worked with kids, I have learned to never judge anyone, let alone children, by something as frivolous as their weight. But it was very strange to me that my boyfriend, being a health gym goer, would have children so clearly unhealthy. When my son came out about an hour later and asked for water, my boyfriend told me to grab something from the fridge. There was no water at all, just soda and juices. The entire fridge had nothing but junk food and the meal kits I know boyfriend to bring to work. No fruits or vegetables, which I know him to snack on. I want to clarify, I am not judging kids. They are children and they eat what is provided. It's good that they eat at all, but it made me realize that our parenting styles and household habits are on completely opposite ends of the spectrum. I feel uneasy about blending our families when the environments are so incompatible. After sleeping on it, I sent him a message. And I want to clarify, okay, you keep clarifying that you're not judging kids. Nobody cares about that, bro. All right, let's be honest. She keeps going on, I want to clarify. Okay, he didn't take it well. He messaged, he doesn't have time to cook and clean perfectly like I do because he has a more demanding job. We literally work the same job, just different teams. Then he accused me of robbing his kids of a beautiful Christmas because I had previously offered to host and cook dinner if the meeting went well. He called me earlier today. I picked up. He apologized over and over for the dramatic messages and for the kids excluding mine. He says they are just obese they're just obese or obsessed with their games. I'm sorry. He wants to, some people spell things wrong and the sentences are run on. I gotta correct it as I read it.
It's okay. They're just obese.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Oh no. All right. I swear I'm not judging kids. I swear. No. She spelled it obese, but I'm sure it's obsessed.
Obsessed. Yeah.
He wants to take us all out to a restaurant and try to make it work. I said, I'd think about it. Should I think about it? He didn't say it, but there is always the chance that I just caught them on a bad week. My co-parent is refusing to comment directly, but I know him too well. And the way our conversation went, he was implying I'm being picky. So she even asked her baby daddy for advice. So, any advice is greatly appreciated. This one's perfect for you, brother.
Yeah.
As being a dad.
And that, yeah, it's again, you know, it's pretty out there, pretty obvious. You saw the red flags, like we mentioned before. How you do one thing is how you do everything.
But I think for him, that applies, but I don't think he applies that to himself, because he's very healthy. You know, he has the meal kits, and, you know, he eats fruits and vegetables and all that kind of stuff when he's at work. But then at home, it's like a complete 180. There's nothing but juice and, you know, sodas and all that crap. So it's like, that's kind of what I found really odd. I don't know. What do you think about that?
And that's one of the things that I've recently also been trying to come with congruency with. The term congruency in and of itself is, do your thoughts and actions align with your reality? You know, he talks about he's a health nut, or she talks about he's a health nut, eats fruits and vegetables, junk like that. You know, I know you cannot force children to do things, right? However, they're very easily led. It sounds like this man is very, very lackluster in the idea of being a leader, right? He doesn't lead their relationship. He doesn't lead his kids. He only leads himself, you know, i.e. where he's being healthy for himself.
But he's not extending that to his kids.
He's not extending that to his kids,
okay.
Nor is he extending that to his environment. If it's a messy environment as well, right? Like, think about any scenario where if you went to a doctor's office and you're like, they're there to, you know, check your orifices, whatever the case may be. All their instruments are gunked up, dirty, stuff like that. You're not gonna be like, well, he's a doctor. He definitely got like clean teeth himself. He's well shaven, nice haircut. He looks good. Like, I'm gonna let this doctor, like, you know, put whatever around my body. Like, no, of course not. Same thing with surgeries, stuff like that. You know, doctors themselves know about health risks, stuff like that. They put that into play in their life, their family, their kids. You know, you don't go to an operating room and it's dirty, filthy, whatever the case may be. And that's a little extreme, but at the same time, you know, you're telling me that this man only has one standard for himself and that's it. Everything else in his life is completely out of his control. Like, you know, and that's the thing. I don't like the phrase, I don't have time. That's not real.
100%.
That's not real. 100%. You're lying. You love lying. You enjoy being dishonest to people. You don't want to prioritize specific events.
Yeah, you don't want to prioritize taking care of your kids.
Yep.
You just rather give them whatever they want,
yep.
whenever they want it, and just that'll shut them up. Here you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by he's not being a leader to the people around him. Where
okay.
She set the stipulation, if things go well, I'll cook for you. I'll make sure we have a good Christmas, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, you know, like he's getting told what to do. And he didn't even make an effort to try to make sure those things went well. He's like, how I am, how our life is, will just be good enough, you know?
Yeah.
And from there, he found out it's actually not good enough. And then he's like, you know what? He made some type of effort to apologize, make things work. However, you know, it's really up to you what kind of time you want to invest in, you know, possibly making this man a leader, getting this man woken up from, you know, the idea that, like I said, it begins and ends with the man. It starts off with he's one way and he lets the house go to disarray when you're not around. You blend your two families. Say one day he has to take care of the kids or he's in charge of something. If he's in that much disarray, disorganization, he's not going to be able to be relied on for making sure things are taken care of.
And if anything, he's going to rely on you for all that.
Yep.
Cleaning and keeping everything good, and the kids, like his kids will be your responsibility. Because, yeah, I get that 100%. He does not know how to lead anything but himself. Yep. When you said that, I was like, right on, head on the nail, because it's one of those things where for her, she looked at it like, dang, he is so like he used the analogy of the doctor where, you know, he's clean shaven, clean cut, all that good stuff. And then you see his workplace and you're just like, what the fuck is this? Because for her, she's getting one purview of him. And then out of nowhere, you know, she's thinking, oh, this is his lifestyle. This is how he is. And then she sees a completely different side of him, it's like a dude saying he's a lawyer, and then you find out nigga works at Subway.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, what the fuck, man? You drive a BMW out there, but you work at Subway? Like, what is going on here? Because what that shows you is that man who works at Subway, you know, is financially irresponsible. He doesn't know what he's doing in life. He doesn't have a direction, all these kind of things. And, you know, it's one of these things where I use that kind of analogy because this happens with a lot of guys. All right. This is a thing where guys will have a certain lifestyle and they're either ambitious, they're going for something, they have potential, whatever the case may be. And then when they get a girl, they look at it like, oh, I got the girl, so I don't have to be ambitious anymore. I don't have to strive for anything anymore. I am good the way I am. When she looks at it like, I am with him because of what he's going to become. Yeah. And then what the guys do is they think, oh no, I'm good the way I am because I got the girl, so he never becomes that guy. And I guarantee you she's dealt with this. I guarantee you her baby daddy was like that, or guys she's dated in the past, guys she's seen in the past have been exactly that. And that's why she's just like, nah, I'm good. I'm chilling, red flag, good, I'm done. And so to your question of, you know, should you go out with this dude and, you know, try to reconcile and all that kind of stuff? No, because I've always said this on the show, men ain't gonna change. They'll change for a month, they'll change for 6 months, they'll change for a year, but we don't change. That's just the way it is. I know I'm the same way. I've done that in my relationships to the where, you know, I'll sit there and be like, yeah, babe, I'll change. Yeah, I'll do this. And then I go right back to my bullshit. And it's just the way it is. It's how men are kind of wired because men are extremely, scheduled and like routine creatures. We love schedule. We love routine. When we know what we're doing at certain times, we like to have that structure. And that's why we teach structure to our children and to those around us and to those, you know, who are below us and trying to come up to our level, you know, when we're teaching other men and that kind of stuff. And so that's why structure is a huge thing. But the fact that you see he doesn't even have structure with his own kids, you're like, how the fuck is he going to have structure with me? How is he going to have structure with my kid? How is he going to teach my son structure? Because I guarantee you that was your thinking. You're like, dang, man, a clean cut guy, you know, takes care of himself, does all this. He can be an amazing role model to my son. He can teach my son how to be a man because I can't do it. I'm a woman. I can't teach him how to shave. I can't, you know, teach him, you know, why there's hair on his dick. I can't, you know what I mean? Like, I can't do these things. And you see this clean cut guy and then you see how he is at home and with his kids. And you're like, oh yeah, no, he's not going to be this way with my kids because look at the tornado he lives in, you know, look at his kids. He doesn't even take care of them. And that's why when Michael was saying that, you know, he doesn't know how to lead anything but himself, that right there is your clear cut, nah, girl. He ain't the one for you. You gotta go.
Yeah.
You gotta go.
I want it to be clear, right? I won't agree with the idea of all men are the same or stay the same, right? I'll just say it takes a lot to get a man to change. And it's not anything that a woman or like the world or society can do. It's all a personal choice in the idea of, like you said, you do stuff to level up. And if your ultimate end goal is to get the woman as a dude, you're doing it for the wrong reasons, right?
Yeah.
I was reading a book. It's called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It talks about an analogy of, the golden goose, where the goose lays golden eggs. And so the farmer, right, just to summarize it real quick, the farmer has this goose, lays golden eggs. They sell the eggs. They become rich. But it only happens like once a month where he can get the egg and sell it for a certain amount and live his lifestyle. He gets so impatient that he cuts the goose open and tries to get all the eggs out at once so he'll have the eggs at any time. Now, he cuts the goose open, the goose is dead, there's no eggs inside, right? It was the goose that was just as important as the golden eggs, right? And that's the same thing. It talks about where if you focus too much on one aspect or the other, you're not going to actually have a fruitful life, right? Where if you only focus on the eggs and you get impatient, cut the goose open, well, now you don't have the goose anymore, right? If you only focus on the goose and do nothing with the eggs, you're not selling them, you're not making them profit. They just look pretty and they're just there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the same thing where constantly having that balance of, you know, if in his mind he's like, my golden egg, my golden egg is being healthy, eating healthy, and that's it, you know. The golden goose of like him being a someone that is a person, a leader, someone to follow, is getting neglected, you know, at that point, because he's got his golden egg, but he's not paying attention to the goose in this scenario where now it's reflected in his house looks like shit, his kids eat whatever they want, drink sodas, and now his girl is seeing this. So it's like, how many, in his mind, I beg the question of how many of these determinations or these factors that are around you are you going to look at and ignore as like, all right, maybe I need to start controlling a little bit more of my environment, where she's upset with you, your kids are not a reflection of you, neither is your their eating habits, their social habits, anything of that nature, and now you're just hoping that she will take you back for the same thing.
But see, that alludes to my point, though, is that he will change for a certain amount of time, but you know, men are extremely stubborn. You know what I mean? We're very set in our ways, and we're very, like I said, routine and structured. So it's like, I feel, yes, he can identify all those things that you just list out, and then he'll change. But it's like, how long until he goes back to being the guy that he was, because that lifestyle was easier for him, that lifestyle. Because like you said, you know, and I love alluding back to that point, because it was such a good point, where he only knows how to lead himself. He doesn't know how to lead anything else. And so it's like, for him, I think he would just reach a point where he'll change and then realize, man, dude, I can't keep this up. This shit is too hard. I'm just going to go back to the way I was, very slowly, of course. I don't think it's just going to be an instant switch, but he'll slowly go back to being who he was. And then she starts to see it. And then she's like, oh, fuck, I'm 2-3 years into this. We're married, or we have a kid, you know. And then she starts to realize, fuck, he's the same guy that he was in the beginning. And that's the only reason why I say that, you know, men don't change, because it's a thing where, yes, we will identify problems and identify situations, will change, but it's like, it's only a matter of time before we kind of default to our default programming, and we just kind of slowly slide back into our shit without realizing that we're doing it. We're thinking everything is hunky-dory, life is good, but from the outside perspective, you know, you start to realize that. And that was something I even had to deal with, even in my own relationships, where I would change and then I'd slowly slide back into the bullshit without realizing that I am. And then either my mom or, you know, my girl at the time, or friends, or, you know, we even did couples counseling. The couples counselor would say the same thing. Like, yeah, you change, but then you slide back into it without even realizing that you are. She realizes it and sees it. And so it's like as if you didn't even change. And that's something that I've realized not only in myself, but other men as well. Are there men that can change and stick to it? 1,000%. But I think in the majority of men just don't change. That's just the way they are, you know. And they'll kind of facade it a little bit like, yeah, I've changed. Yeah, I've done this. Yeah, I've done that. But it's not 100%.
Yeah,
you know? I
could see that. And I think what that really comes from is the idea of, I need to it just depends on the goal, right? If your goal is like, I'll make her happy with this, then you're not really changing. You're, like you said, you're putting on the act to make her happy or make a certain outcome happen. Where if you deep down in your life are like, all right, I want to be X, Y, and Z for my own personal reasons, or because that's just the person I want to be, right? And like I said, the book I've been reading, it says start with the end in mind, right? And it's one of those things where, like, I'll try to keep it short, but it talks about, you know, imagine you're attending your own funeral, right? You have one of your best friends, you have your wife, you have your kids, you have someone from your profession show up there. What would you want them to say during, like, I think it's the eulogy where they speak on you? Yep. What would you want them to say in those instances, you know. And if you're what you want them to say is not how you're living, then you for yourself need to start a change for yourself, right?
Yeah.
I think what a lot of men do is they're like, I just want her to be happy, so I'll put on this facade so she's happy. You know what I mean? It's not truly who I am. It's a facade for her, you know? Whereas, and that's the problem that gets a lot of people into trouble, where you're just acting for a certain amount of time, like you said, 3 months, 6 months, a year, versus actually you have a goal of like, all right, well, what do I truly value? Like honesty,
and that's
whatever
why
the case may be.
I use the point of a lot of guys will get the girl. They'll be ambitious. They'll be driven. You know, they'll do all these things to become something. And then when they get the girl, all that stops and dies. And the girl thinks like, oh my God, he's going to become this. And she's like, and then he's like, oh, you know, I got the girl, so I am who I need to be. I'm where I'm at. But for her, she's like, no, you still haven't become that yet. You know, and that's why I use that, because of exactly that. You know, but yeah, man. This has been a fire episode. Hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. Definitely let me know what you think about everything we got over the comments. Let me know what you think about our boy on the show and all that good stuff. Definitely show him some love, all that good stuff. We'll see you guys on Tuesday for another episode. And we'll let you go ahead and close it out, man.
All right, like you said, if you enjoyed today's episode, go ahead, leave a like, comment, whatever the case may be. I will say I'll probably be back on the show. You know, I like talking. You're my best friend, honestly.
Oh, of course.
Obviously, we've been friends for 20 years, and you know, we're practically blood at this point. So,
Facts.
of course, you know. I will say the only reason I didn't join the show sooner is because I had growing to do, and you know, now that I've grown a little bit, I'm more comfortable getting out there in the space. And I always continue to grow and have that idea of growth. You know, I say I just recently came across the idea that success is a journey, not a destination. And so that's what I'm on, is my journey of success, not to success. But thank you for having me on, brother.
Oh yeah, of course, man. Anytime. I told him, hey, you know, the doors to my The Asshole Podcast is always open to you. You know, this was supposed to be what the show it was when I started it. You know what I mean? And so, you know, it has become a full circle thing. So, you know, we're definitely going to have him, a lot more guests and all that kind of stuff on. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, we're going to get on out of here. We love you guys, and peace.
Peace.